Jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's club repair shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner. Unmatched in the North Alabama area, it is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslanding.com.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
The Jets are looking for their first win on the season. I'm Chris Smith. And in London, they get 3 field goals and a safety to lead the Broncos 11-10 early in the fourth. On the injury front, Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray will not play against the Colts because of a foot injury suffered last weekend. Jacoby Brissett will start at Lucas Oil Stadium, where he played from 2017 to 2020. Meanwhile, Chargers wide receiver Quentin Johnson is out due to a hamstring injury for their matchup with the Dolphins. In the college ranks, Oregon State has fired head coach Trent Bray after a 0-7 start to the season. And the Blue Jays square off against the Mariners in Game 1 of the ALCS. And ESPN Sports Only says Seattle may be in trouble.
The Mariners have to pick up the rubble of their pitching staff coming off that game and figure it out. Obviously, the Blue Jays will have an advantage on paper because of that. The Blue Jays, they'll be lined up and ready to go with this offense that they kicked the Yankees' butts in that series. And on the other hand, if you are Dan Wilson today, you're happy you get to plan out pitching for the American League Championship Series. But they really are faced with a lot of difficult choices because of all the pitching that they had to use.
Heard on ESPN Radio's Hammer and Emmett. Toronto will remain without shortstop Bo Bichette for the ALCS, but they added right-handers Max Scherzer and Chris Bassett to the roster with their first AL pennant in 32 years on the line. Seattle made 2 changes to the roster that beat Detroit in the division series, with ace right-hander Brian Wu returning. Coverage of the ALCS Game 1 in Toronto begins 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Monday, Damian Woody joins us in studio at 7:30 a.m. Eastern to react to Week 6 in the NFL and look ahead to a huge Monday Night Football doubleheader. It's on Sportsmanlike 6 a.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Snap, going to Simpson, looking, catches made right side, Cuevas, and he's inside the 20. A perfectly thrown ball, great concentration from Josh, and Bama's inside the Chick-fil-A red zone at the 18-yard line. As the snap goes to Simpson, looking, firing, slant, caught, touchdown, Alabama. Isaiah Horton in the back of the end zone with the tightest of windows to catch it through. What a pass again from Ty Simpson, and Bama takes the lead 13-7. Trips right for the Tigers. Single setback again will be Hardy. Prabula getting the snap, looking, stepping up in the pocket. He's brought down, and the flag's going to come in. 3 left, including Cuevas, the tight end. 1 man wide right. Miller is to the left of Simpson, who operates from the pistol. Now he's going to change the play, and they'll change the formation. They go trips in tight to the right side, leaving 1 man wide left. Still Miller in the backfield. Ty gets the snap. Looking, stepping up, has to run forward. He'll get a first down. He'll get more. Across midfield. Dives over a man and gets flipped. Get up, baby. He does. Seems to be fine as he gets to the 44-yard line. Just inside the 38-yard line is where the placement will be handled by Blake Dow. Snap up coming from David Bird. Again from the near hash. Talty's kick has plenty of leg. It is up, and it is good. The longest kick of the year from Connor Talty. This one, 48 yards. Snap's good, spot's good, kick is up. It's inside the upright. It's good, and Alabama settles for 3, but a 20-17 lead for the Tide Running back to the right of Tribula. That's the backup, Roberts. Looking, firing. It is almost picked off, or did he get it? Bama says they have it, and they do. Trey Hubbard diving around the 40-yard line, gets the Chick-fil-A interception, and Bama will take over. Mizzou will hurry to the line of scrimmage, and they do fake it. They snap it to the up man. Did he get it? No! Bama knocked him down shy. Jamal Roberts was the one who had it snapped to him. He went left. It's going to be close, but I don't think he got it. 4th down and 8, and Bama's going for it, or at least gives that indication. Simpson comes up to Brailsford. 3, 2, 1. Get the snap off in time. Simpson stepping up, looking, firing. It is caught. Lonzier Brooks at the 12-yard line, knocked out of bounds. It will be first down, Alabama. Empty set. Simpson gets the ball, dumps it off. Hill caught. Touchdown, Alabama. Daniel Hill, the sophomore from Meridian. What a time to get his first touchdown of the season. What a call from the Alabama coaching staff, and a great throw from Ty Simpson as well. And Bama goes up 9. 2 wideouts left. They'll make it 3 for Missouri. Pribula firing left side. See, picked off, intercepted, and getting the pick for Alabama will be Dejon Lee. It was perhaps deflected, but intercepted by Dejon Lee. A great pick there. Does indeed hang on, took a knee as he grabbed it. And victory formation in Columbia, and mercy. Let's get out of here. Bama, a 27-24 winner over Missouri. The Tide beats the Tigers and improves to 3-0 in SEC play. 5-1 overall on the year.
Welcome to the Alabama Football Recap Show with Drew DeArmond and Steve Moulton. Smoked by Dreamland Barbecue. Ain't nothing like 'em nowhere. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Drew and Steve.
Those were the calls from Learfield. Chris Stewart on the call. Good morning, Drew.
Good morning, Steve. It was not an easy game. I never thought it would be.
Yeah.
Mizzou's got a good front defensively and got after Alabama. I think after yesterday, we should see a change at right tackle for the Crimson Tide. I think that's painfully obvious.
Yeah.
That Mike Carroll needs to replace Wilkin Formby, who was not very good yesterday. I mean, I thought I was watching Chris Capp's cousin there for a little bit. But, and I like Wilkin. He's a good kid who works hard, and they've worked at both guard and tackle. But Carroll's just a better player. And, and Carroll did some good things late in the game. Late in the game, they did have him at right tackle. But Alabama was fortunate to escape, no question. But I think the difference was Ty Simpson, it wasn't his best game. But
picks though.
But when he had to be great, he was. From the standpoint when you heard on the calls of Chris Stewart, that throw to Lonzier Brooks on 4th and 8 had to be perfect,
and it was.
And then Lonzier showed a lot of toughness in tight coverage to catch the football, and then great call, and then a good throw to Daniel Hill, because I saw a layup throw last night from an Auburn quarterback that wasn't so good. So on a 4th down play,
I'd like to get that. I get to there in a little bit, but right. I was down there for that game. But so much is focused on a play here and a play there, and honestly, to me, one of the bigger plays in this game was on the Mizzou defense on the very first scrimmage of downs, a taunting call that happened, because if that doesn't happen,
it's very likely a 3-and-out.
It's very likely a 3-and-out, and you're already down 7-0. That to me was a critical point of this game.
Because it would have been about 3rd and 14 or 15.
And you were at, I think Bama was around the 10-yard line.
Yeah, they would have. I think they would. Of course, Alabama would have tried to throw the football.
Of course.
We don't know what they would have called. Would they have been conservative with a screen, or would they have tried to take a shot downfield? Is it out of the question that they could convert? No, but very likely it would have been a 3 and out.
Yeah.
But I watched the replay. It was taunting. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying it wasn't taunting.
I'm just saying that that officiating crew was actually the one that did the Tennessee-Alabama game in 22, which was horrendous.
Yeah.
But I'll just say, I mean, sometimes it's iffy when you watch stuff. I mean, and the stupid thing for Missouri was it wasn't even the guy that made the play.
Mm-hmm.
It was a guy coming in behind him and he had to get down in his face, which they tell you repeatedly you can't do that. So listen to what the officials say. Now, I would
imagine their coaches are probably coaching them up that way too.
Yeah. I don't like targeting, and I don't think it should be an ejectable penalty. I think it should be 15 yards. I don't think it should be ejectable, but that was taunting. And I don't feel one bit sorry for Missouri.
No, I'm just saying how critical it was.
Yeah, it was
because there was another penalty further down that series of downs.
Yes,
that was also critical, and it felt like an early Christmas present for Alabama in that game.
It was an offsides, which and then Caden Proctor reacted to it, and it gave Alabama a first down. But here's what I told a friend of mine: I can't help it that Missouri's not used to the spotlight. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what that looked like to me when you start getting so out of your head that you taunt somebody.
Yeah.
Well, because you're overly amped up and you got to calm down and play football.
Yeah.
And Alabama's used to doing that. And then good teams take advantage of blunders by the other team.
Mm-hmm.
We saw a team in red and black do it last night quite a bit.
I'd like to get to that in a minute.
But Alabama took advantage and they tied it at 7. And then, it was a tight football game. But then Ty made – see, he was 23 of 31 again. But he was a little off. But when he had to be, just like on that third down throw to Isaiah Horton in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
That's an NFL throw in a very tight window. His great throws were at key times, and that's what you have to have because that's kind of the difference in quarterbacks. I've watched a lot of great ones, including Tom Brady in the NFL. They'll look bad and they'll look shaky early, but then when it's money time and you have to win the game, that's when they're nails because they have mental toughness and they're able to process and be calm and just execute. And I thought that's what Alabama did to win the game.
And I don't think it's a great shock that a lot of the talking heads, and rightfully so, are now touting Ty Simpson as your Heisman frontrunner heading into this weekend's game against Tennessee. And he has earned it. He has absolutely earned it, and I'll even throw in the Florida State game, where if you really go back and watch that wasn't on Ty.
No, I mean, he wasn't on time some in that game.
Yeah, but not as much.
But it would have been a game very similar to this past one.
Yeah,
if Ryan Williams had a sack. Because I'm just saying they dropped some balls that he put right there that they could have made plays. And Isaiah Horton got banged up in that game, wasn't himself. Latsier Brooks wasn't even on the depth chart. He played like 2 plays. If Alabama played Florida State right now, they would beat the ever-living piss out of them.
By the way, that does not look great on the Alabama resume after Florida State loses to Pitt at home. And that's another former Bama quarterback that I'm assuming that is still the starting quarterback, and Eli Holstein.
No,
he's
true
not.
Freshman.
Oh, really?
A true freshman that they said they made look like Michael Vick. Torched them like yesterday.
Wow. Okay.
And then they lose that game. And then, of course, you've heard this mantra before. Boy, that was a clunker by Gus Malzahn. So I'm just saying the longer Gus is with you, you're going to see those. And
it's a roller coaster. Yeah, it's always a roller coaster with Gus.
And I'll say this, I don't know if they'll be able to recover.
Yeah.
But I said very likely they were still an 8-4 football team when they beat Alabama. They just put together a great 60 minutes. Alabama put together a very poor 60 minutes, and Florida State won the game at home. That was a very bad loss yesterday. Norvell's on the scorching hot seat now. They pretty much, just watching Ira Schofel and guys I respect that have followed that program, they pretty much are done with Norvell. They want them to find the money and send him packing, because they just felt like this was the fork in the road to whether you were going to go win 8 or 9 or end up 500. And they ended up 500 in their minds after they blow a game against a decent Pitt team, not a great Pitt team, but a decent Pitt team. And then they laid an egg.
A big thank you to Dreamland BBQ. That is our presenting sponsor. Of course, they're located on University Drive. You name it, from the world famous ribs to the nachos, the stadium nachos, as well as quesadillas, chicken play. It's just everything is fantastic. And we were there on Tuesday for the drive, and Wes always enjoys the sausage that I come out. You've been out there for that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Little hors d'oeuvres.
We annihilated some sausage.
Yeah. So, anyway, it's Dreamland BBQ. Ain't nothing like them nowhere. And Alabama continues to get better, but the injury report, I think, is another part and a key cog storylines coming out of this game, Drew.
Well, first of all, Ryan Williams played but was limited. Kalen DeBoer said after the game he didn't practice all week, and he's going to have to learn how to play injured or hurt. I guess it's hurt. Hurt's the better way to put it. You got to learn how to play hurt. If you're injured, you shouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
But he needs to learn how to play hurt. I think he has some sort of strain, pull, whatever. But he was only targeted one time, and it wasn't completed. And really wasn't a part of the offense. I guess they kind of used him as a decoy. But again, he's going to have to learn to play hurt. But he wasn't a factor. And I'll give Missouri credit. This is one place after the first quarter that I thought they settled in, and it surprised me a little bit. They took Alabama's wide receivers out of the game pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the stat line, they did not allow a catch to Ryan Williams. Isaiah Horton was a factor early and got the touchdown catch, but didn't make any big plays. Jeremy Bernard had a very quiet stat line. And then, of course, Latsier Brooks was the leader and made a huge play. But that play on 4th and 8 was really probably their most explosive play of the evening or of the morning or whatever you want to say, of the afternoon of the ball game. Alabama, they're what they usually do is they'll make 2 or 3, explosive plays a game down the field and be able to 30, 40 yards or maybe make a big play TD. They didn't do that. They weren't able to do it. Now, some of it I thought was Ty getting a little frazzled because his protection wasn't spectacular yesterday, especially on the right side. Like I'll bring up one specifically. I believe it was the drive before the touchdown that put him up 10. They ended up missing that 49-yard field goal. It was about, I don't know, I think it was 3rd down and 6 or 7. And Ty had a good pocket, and he had time to throw, and Jeremy was open. And you got to stick that throw. That's got to be a stick throw for about 20 yards, first down at the 10-yard line. You got a chance to score a touchdown, put the game away. He threw it into the first row. I mean, he overthrew it because I think he was hurrying a little bit because he wasn't trusting his protection. I thought he may have hurried it just a tad. So, and then there was another situation in the ball game in the second half where I thought they were taking control. They had started to run the ball. And
the 17-play drive, 17 play.
On this one, this was the one where I think they ended up having to punt, but they had
that was the field goal, I think.
They were past midfield, and they had a 2nd down and 4, and Ty should have dumped it to an open Jam Miller, who would have gotten past the sticks.
That was right after. I think that was a 10-play drive.
Yeah, and then the next, but that play he decided to try to go to Latsier, in the middle of the field, and it was not a good throw. And then on 3rd down, they didn't convert. He had to throw it away, and so then they ended up punting. So that's just, I thought they missed an opportunity because I thought really they had started to run the ball effectively with Jam. And I thought they had Missouri's defense on their heels because they were able to run it.
Are you hearing anything about Jam?
Yeah, I mean, he has a concussion. Yeah. There's no question about it. He and Derek Meadows got concussions. Meadows was having to play, and I was thinking they were going to redshirt Meadows. Well, that's out the window. They played him because Ryan, I don't think, if Derek doesn't get knocked out, I'm not sure Ryan Williams even plays. Now he's available, but it's like Coach DeBoer said after the game. he didn't he was, on not off the injury report, but he didn't practice it hardly at all. So it's hard to get him in there and get him in a rhythm because he hasn't practiced.
Yeah.
And Meadows had been practicing. So I think they would have kept going to Meadows and letting him and trusting him. Okay, this is your time. Make some plays. I mean, they certainly didn't mind. That was it. That was a big time. That would have been a vertical, like a 25-yard play if he catches it. It was a perfect throw from Ty.
Yeah.
Some people want to say it's a hospital ball. The only reason it was a hospital ball is because the safety at Missouri cheap shotted him and targeted him, hit him in the head. Now, it was stunning to me to hear some of these idiot Missouri supporters sit there and say it's fixed, and that the officials didn't want Alabama or didn't want Missouri to beat Alabama. And how is that targeting? Are you crazy? Can you not look at the replay of that? It's textbook targeting. He hit him straight in the head and knocked him out. Okay? If you knock a guy out and hit him in the head, it's targeting. Okay, I'm sorry. The guy deserved to be ejected. I mean, like I said, if they would call the game the way I want to, I don't think somebody should be ejected.
Just call the penalty. Mark it
but
off.
It's a penalty.
Yeah,
and so that was an easy call. I really thought when Jam got concussed later in the game, I thought that was targeting.
Yeah,
and they didn't. Yeah. And they didn't even review it for targeting.
No, they did not.
So. Look, I mean, I don't think the officiating had anything to do with the game. That's people that are complaining because they're Missouri and they haven't won a big game in a long time and hadn't beat Alabama since Coach Bryant. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but Chase Daniel, I can't wait to see Missouri beat Alabama. Like I told him, congratulations, have a great weekend. You're 0-6.
It especially Alabama offensively is you can see them fine-tuning and this thing is humming pretty decently.
Well, and another big thing, excuse me, Steve, I apologize that, but I wanted to make this point because you were talking about Jam, who I thought up until he got knocked out.
Yeah.
And by the way, on the play he got knocked out was a huge play.
It was.
It was fourth down.
Yeah.
And Ty Simpson did a great job. They called kind of I call it almost a sprint right option, but Jam went out in the flat, and then Ty makes the decision. Okay, if the defender goes with Jam, I'm running to get it. Yep. If he comes to me, I'm flipping it, and then it's a completion first down, and he got it. So it was well executed. It's a good call.
Yeah.
But Jam got knocked out. But Jam had 20 carries for 85 yards up to that point, and then had also done a nice job as a receiver. He was having a good game. Now, where I thought the running back struggled, and some of this is Missouri and being the dogs that they are, and when I call someone a dog, that's saying they're playing hard.
Yeah.
Is they had a good pass rush, and Alabama's running backs were having a hard time picking up the blitz.
That's right.
And the rush.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to help and chip, and especially with the right tackle they've been starting. So you better have your head on a swivel. So. I mean, but I just thought that they struggled a little bit in pass pro. But I will say, Jam had a good game. Kevin Riley made some plays. And then we heard Daniel Hill, and he's the third back.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of size. He's 230 pounds, so he can lean on you.
Heard he had a really good fall camp, but then got dinged up a little bit.
Well, and I thought he did a good job yesterday running the football when he had to coming in there. And then you saw it on the touchdown. His strength is he's a really good receiver.
Yeah.
And I'll just say this. It was good formationing by Grubb and those guys. They weren't expecting Alabama to throw the ball to Daniel Hill. That's why he was so wide open.
Yeah.
And they totally caught Missouri, off guard. And it was a good call. I honestly, the way the flow of the game was going, I didn't blame DeBoer for going for it on the 4th and 8 and then on that 4th down because, like you said, we're trying to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you just felt like, okay, first of all, Talty is a little shaky. I don't think he's terrible, but it's no Cod Lock. But even if he makes it, you're only up 6.
Well, you're judging everybody on Will Reichert now.
Well, and even if he makes it, you're only up 6.
That's true.
It just takes one drive to beat you by 1. Now, if you go up 10, you got a great chance to win. Now, unfortunately, I thought really the second half defensively, once again, Alabama played well, except for that 2-minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think they did a great job, and they gave up the touchdown and some shots downfield. But, Missouri had the onside kick, and this is why I gave him a shout-out. Cole Adams has some of the best hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
I mean, that was tremendous. Like that was. I'm not sure the ball went 10 yards, but it didn't matter because he snared it.
Now, how big of? I mean, in retrospect, him getting hurt last year, how big of a deal was?
Yeah, people
don't
understand that.
I mean, that was a big deal last year.
And again, with the Jalen Hale sickness and with Ryan Williams not being 100%, we don't know what's going to happen next week. And then Derek Meadows may be out with a concussion.
Yeah.
I don't even know what Mbakwe's injury is.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't get his podcast check. I don't know. But anyway, I'm just saying that who knows. You may have to put Cole Adams in the rotation against Tennessee, but he should know the offense. You should be confident in what he can do. But I thought him making that play on the onside kick was huge. And then I thought it was good coaching. Then you have the lead. I thought, okay, yeah, that was smart. Try to draw him off because it's 4th and 5.
Mm-hmm.
You can't draw him off. Then a perfectly executed punt.
Yep.
Because I thought, Blake Dowd's been shaky, but that was perfect.
It was.
And then make them drive the length of the field. And the thing that I figured out in the first half is Prbula has mobility. Okay, he's not a bad runner, but he can't throw the football. I mean, this is not a guy,
especially with somebody in his face.
Well, and Alabama did a good job of taking out Kevin Coleman, and they got him a little bit dinged up with on the ankle. But I wasn't. It didn't look like to me Prbula could throw the ball down the field, and so my first thought was because there were people. Well, maybe Penn State should have kept him. No, we understand why Drew Aller was the starter. I think Penn State
is having their own issues.
Yeah,
right
they are.
now.
And now, Godspeed to Drew Aller. He's out for the year.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I just didn't think that Missouri could throw the ball down the field. And so you play those percentages. And then he finally threw one to Dejon Lee, who had dropped one in the first half.
That's right.
But,
that's right.
And that's another guy, Damani Jackson, who looked like he didn't want none yesterday as far as tackling anybody, and then he, of course, got victimized on a 4th down where Alabama could have closed the game out, and he got beat in coverage.
Yeah.
Dejon Lee's coming to take his job. He better get his head out of his rectum and start playing better football because I'm just telling you, Dejon Lee's a freak.
All right, I have yet to give out the phone number here this Sunday morning, and they got the lines jammed up. It was an amazing day of college football all across the Southeastern Conference landscape. And I know I say that, and there's Auburn fans probably throwing stuff at the radio or at your YouTube screen or wherever you're listening to this. But we'll get to that here in a minute. We'll take your phone calls right now in order that they arrived in. Let's head out to the line. And by the way, if you'd like to call in, it's 256-576-4977. Good morning. You are on the Bama Recap Show, smoked by Dreamland BBQ. Who's this?
Hey, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Hey, a couple things, Drew. 2 or 3 things. I'll be quick. The first thing is the team last year would have lost that game yesterday. You agree?
No question. Milroe couldn't have made the plays that Ty made to win the game. There's no doubt about that.
And they didn't have the leadership. I think this team has pretty good leadership with Keenan and Ty Simpson, and then you got Bernard. I think there's some good leaders on the team. The other thing is, you've already addressed one thing, the right tackle. He's a bullfighter. He hollers Olay every time. He has got to go. He's got to go. I've been saying it for games, not just this game, for games. And the last thing I'll say, when opposing teams turn the video on and watch us on defense, they light up when they see Damani Jackson. I've said that for a few games now.
Yeah.
They've all attacked him. Every team has attacked Damani Jackson. Go back and watch him. He's got to
go. What's your name, sir?
Jerry.
Jerry, you're spot on.
Yeah, Jerry, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like, early on that first touchdown drive, I mean, Damani just ran out of bounds. He wanted nothing to do with trying to tackle the tight end. And he's been enigmatic the whole season. Now, there have been a few times where he has struck someone and made a play, but for the most part, he has struggled. He struggled in coverage. He's the one that got beat like a yard dog by Colby Young.
Mm-hmm.
Colby Young ran straight past him in the Georgia game. I know he's a senior and he came back, but he's just not bringing it. I don't think he's playing with intensity. And again, to me, it's like in the NFL. If you're not producing, you got to go to the bench, and the freshman,
You have to.
And the freshman is at least getting his hands on the ball. Dijon did intercept the pass to seal the game. I just think it's, and with Wilkin Formby, like I said, great kid, but you can see Michael Carroll and his ability. I think this, and again, they like to rotate guys, but I just think the Michael Carroll's earned the right to start. And then if you look at Tennessee's strength as a defense, they really give up. They bend but don't break. They give up rushing yards. They give up. You can throw it on them, because I was watching the Arkansas game and I've watched other games.
I need to watch.
What they can do is they can rush the passer, because they've got nearly 30 sacks.
Yeah.
So and then of course they blitz. So you better be shored up there, because they're going to try to get after Ty. But again, I would agree with Jerry 100%. I think Damani Jackson's corner spot. And then the right tackle, there needs to be some changes in the lineup.
Back out to the phone lines we go. It is the phone call part of the program. Of course, you're a big part of the program. Appreciate you calling in. Good morning. You're on the Bama Recap Show, smoked by Dreamland BBQ. Who's this?
Tennessee Hate Week. Do you know who it is, Drew?
Yeah, there it is. D. Rich, his favorite week of the year, butt chugging.
You want me to cue it up? Yeah, you want me to go ahead and cue it up?
Don't do it, Steve.
Yeah. It's awful.
Fellas,
it's the worst song
man,
ever.
I'm starting to realize real quick there are no more gimmies in this league.
No,
every
not at all.
game is going to be a one-possession game. And I thought Bama showed a lot of guts out there, because you saw what happened down on the plains when you don't seize the momentum and all that kind of stuff. And I'll let everybody else talk about the SEC officiating, which is absolutely trash. But I got a lot of props for Alabama for playing their ass off yesterday, and just keep continuing to play the next play. And I guess, early in the season when they were playing so many guys, I was like, I don't know, man. I'd like to settle in on. And I guess the reason I like it now is you can find out who can play and who can't play. We found that out yesterday. So I'm excited about, seeing when we play Tennessee, we better be good against the pass rush like Drew said. But the red zone offense, Drew, I'm a little concerned about that. We got to score more touchdowns instead of kicking these field goals or trying field goals. So, I'm a little concerned about that, but I don't know, man. Ty Simpson, he's
something else,
guy,
isn't he?
Man.
Yeah.
He is that guy. There were some NFL throws in there. The pass to Isaiah.
Oh, gosh.
That was a tight window in the back of the end zone. And then the Latsier Brooks play was just, that's just insane. Yeah. And we're just going to have to live with the fact that he's going to run the clock down all the way to 1-0, and occasionally we're going to get a delay game. But he's just diagnosing what the guys are giving him, and they obviously trust him to make the right read and all that. So
well, no. I think we all found out last night. All you got to do is clap your hands. All you got to do is clap your hands.
He wasn't calling timeout. That wasn't a timeout, Steve.
All you got to do is clap your hands. That's all you got to do.
Unbelievable.
And stick your tongue out. At the end of the game. Hey, in closing, guys, I'll get off of here, but I really expect Ty to just continue. He's from Tennessee. That game, we always wonder how much it means to the players.
Yeah.
Boy, I think he'll be really fired up to play the Vols next weekend. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with
Appreciate the phone
Rich,
call.
and it'll be interesting to see, how Jam is and if he can go. That probably won't be decided till the middle of the week. My suspicions would be that Meadows was worse, because it really looked like Meadows was knocked out. When they hit Jam, when I saw the replay, I thought they may have even irritated his shoulder.
That's what I initially thought,
because they hit him right pretty much on there.
Yeah, I was thinking about that brace.
But he took a hard fall after he got hit in the shoulder, but he looked more like he had his faculties than Meadows. Meadows, I don't know that Meadows even remembered anything.
No, as soon as you saw Coach DeBoer go out like beeline.
Now, and he was back on the sideline in his street clothes. He probably don't even remember the play, I wouldn't think. And so, but again, it'll be interesting. But if he's not available, is what I guess my point was going to be. I would think it would be Kevin Riley and Hill. And everybody now, of course, yesterday I was getting blown up. Where's Richard Young? Where's Richard Young? And I was like, well, he's fourth string, obviously. They got their pecking order, and AK Deer's not ready yet in their minds.
Oh, no, he's not.
Yeah. So it's going to be those two dudes if you don't have Jam. Now, we'll see what's happening with Jam. He may have to miss this game.
Daniel Hill may be the horse as well.
But I do think
Riley.
Daniel Hill has talent.
Yeah.
And I think he's a good player.
Clearly. Yeah.
And so
runs hard.
And I'll just say this. Alabama beat Missouri with no Ryan Williams. So because Latsier Brooks stepped up, he had to do it.
Yeah.
And then Horton made a touchdown catch. And I'll be honest with you, though, I did think that Alabama would make more big plays against Mizzou, but I'll give the Mizzou coaching staff credit. Their defense is better than Vanderbilt's, in my opinion, after watching them, because they can rush the passer better than Vandy. And then their secondary held up better than I thought it would, because it was supposed to be a weakness going in. Now, Alabama being banged up at receiver didn't help, but they still did a good job on Germ. After the beginning of the game, they did a good job on Isaiah Horton. But I also, what I did love, too, is Jamarcus Shepard wasn't having none. I mean, he was basically just getting up in people's grill, like, quit playing soft and do your job. I don't give a bleep what we're paying.
Yeah.
Like, you got to do your job.
You got to play to my standard.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, I kind of like seeing that.
I mean, he was right up in Horton's grill. I mean, he wasn't having any of it. I mean, and then he was giving them a fiery sermon.
So
what they needed to do.
If I can, now 35 minutes into the program, give you a little sidebar. I was at the Georgia-Auburn game last night. The final 2 minutes of the first half took
30-some minutes.
35 minutes and 11 seconds because I went in and there was a guy with a stopwatch just go. I don't know why anyway, 35 minutes and 11 seconds for all the video replays. And then so there's obviously cameras on the goal line. They didn't look like they were the world's greatest cameras. Can we give a little bit? Is there not enough money in Mickey's budget to get like the best cameras on critical plays? I'm just, they have that little video game camera with guys going out, but I just, that was a raucous crowd. It was incredibly part of it. It really was. But and Auburn fans, I do understand your beef. I do. I completely do. But at the same realm, how many times has Auburn gotten an Auburn? I mean, it's so much so that I felt like it's part of college football vernacular, where there is something that helps the Auburn program, and then that launches them into a win. Maybe I'm making this up. But over the decades of following this sport, there's always been something that kind of triggers an Auburn victory. But I'm not saying that it's just like, a tough one. That was bad.
No, what I saw.
That was bad.
I mean, look, the officiating was atrocious, but it was bad on both sides. It wasn't like Auburn didn't get any calls. I mean, look, I saw, on one particular play, I believe a gunner was throwing the ball in the end zone, and dude just gets grabbed. I mean, he grabbed a handful of his jersey, and the official doesn't make any call.
Yeah.
And then, as college football nerds pointed out, should have been a 1st and goal at the 2 or 1.5 or whatnot. That was not a blindside block by Cash Jones.
No.
I mean, Auburn can sit there and say, "Oh, we didn't get any, calls. The refs screwed us." That's loser mentality, okay? And the only time I ever said that Alabama got hosed during Nick Saban's tenure and got screwed by the officials and I thought got robbed was the 2022 Tennessee game. And you can go back and find it.
Yeah.
I did say this is the only time I'm saying.
Yeah.
And throughout the whole game, I said the game seemed like it was fixed.
But
the interference with 30 yards behind the guy where you're throwing it that late, and then the non-targetings on Bryce Young, they were hitting him around the head the whole game. I mean, I just felt like, and even still, Alabama let some opportunities slip through their fingers. 52-yard field goal from Reichert was just wide, and then Jahmyr Gibbs couldn't haul in a pass from Bryce that if he catches, he very likely makes the guy miss, and it's out the door, and it's a touchdown. But what I thought was with this in this Auburn situation, look, what they're not talking about is, first of all, I completely agree with Chris Doering because I watched SEC football final.
What did he say? I didn't.
He said, hold on to the ball.
Well,
okay. That way there's no call to be made if you hold on to the damn football. He didn't hold on to it. Guys are going to be trying to strip you of it. Hold on to the football. In other words, I felt like that he should have got low, held it tight, and then just burrowed his way in there. He didn't have to reach it over. I mean, it's stupid. You're running a tush push anyway. And then so watching the replay, I thought the nose of the football nicked the end zone. I thought it should have been a touchdown. But when they kept taking so long to review it, I was like, Auburn's not going to get this call. And Hugh Freeze, look, man, here's the thing. This is the difference. This is why Hugh is not a big-time coach and he's going to be unemployed. I never heard one time Nick Saban complain about the officiating after a game. He would always talk about, missed opportunities. You got to do this. You got to do that. You reflect your coach because look, Alabama in that Tennessee game I'm referencing, they didn't get a lot of calls, and yet they kept competing their butts off, still almost won the game. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Auburn just seemed like they deflated them. They did a great job. Because guess what? They also got a break because if they had not blown the whistle dead, that's a Georgia 100-yard touchdown the other way.
But I never heard a whistle. Well, I never heard a whistle. They were
claiming there was a whistle.
I'm just telling you, I never heard a whistle.
Because that would have been
a touchdown. And that's why Kirby was just like,
he told him to keep running. And I don't blame him there. Yeah. But, they got a break there too. And then they allowed Georgia. They still could have bowed up and held them scoreless because they were back at the 1-yard line. But even then, they held them to 3 points. But that was after I thought they lost their poise because, look, man, that was targeting on Gunnar Stockton. I'm sorry, Kayan Lee hit him right under the chin and got ejected.
So the only thing that I questioned on that is whether or not the wide receiver was out of bounds because they did the targeting call from the end of the pass catch. I thought they were looking at whether or not that was a catch first, but that never really got.
And then Amaris Williams gets a roughing call, which I thought was roughing. He took him all the way to the ground, and he didn't have to. It was almost a horse collar. I just felt like Auburn came unhinged. And yet, even after all that, they held him to 3 points. It was 10-3 at halftime. You've got the lead. And yet your coach is over here, maybe one of these days we'll get a down break from the officials. Just say your kids played hard. I thought that was a touchdown, but we've got to keep playing.
Yeah, that I did ask. I did ask Hugh post game about the timeout. But although I will tell you, if you look at Kirby's lips, he is saying clapping, but his hands are saying timeout.
Yeah, he was trying to claim Auburn was clapping. But again, I just felt like overall.
Auburn had 40 yards of offense in the second half.
You can't win a game in the second half against anybody with one first down until the last drive.
It was 10-3. So it was 10-3, and the first drive of the second half, they stopped them. It's not as if Georgia went right down and tied it up. What I thought was going to happen, Auburn's defense bowed up, and the offense just,
Steve, they had 15 yards of offense until the final drive where they got 2 meaningless first downs. And then, of course, their prerequisite fourth down, take a sack, and the game's over.
Yeah.
It goes back to what Hugh Freeze said in Atlanta about having to take it easy on Jackson Arnold. The kid's not mentally tough at all. The whole second half, he was throwing worm burners after looking great in the first half. The minute something goes wrong, that football team crumbles. because of Hugh Freeze. Because Hugh Freeze is an excuse maker. He's a politician, and his teams don't play with any physical or mental toughness.
How they were not up by more at halftime. I mean, really, there for a minute, right out of the gate, I tweeted out, and I'm trying to remember exactly. Auburn had 21 carries for over 100 yards, and I think Georgia had 20 yards.
I think the thing is, yeah, they did. Georgia only had 20. Georgia was getting physically dominated.
Oh, my gosh.
And let me amend with something that I just said. The Auburn defense plays with toughness, but the offense is soft as butter.
Yeah,
I mean they are absolutely soft.
And penalties.
Then there's no discipline because Auburn gets 10, 11 penalties a game.
At 11 last night, 11 for 90.
I mean, that's horrendous. Okay, I mean I'm sorry. Auburn, I picked Auburn to win this game, so I was pissed off. I didn't think Auburn played with any poise or toughness in the second half. And then Hugh Freeze, your head coach, is saying, yeah, the energy changed after we came out of the locker room. You're still up 10-3, coach. You're not trailing.
Well, and that's why I asked him what he had told. You know what? I think I have it of what I asked Coach Freeze because I asked about that in particular of what the message was to the team. And I think this might be it.
That the side judge over there, Kirby, told him he was clapping, not calling timeout.
That's the first question.
What was your other question?
Your halftime message.
Let's go win the game. I mean, they hadn't stopped us yet. You know, we really could have easily had 21 points at half, and you're sitting there with 10. And
he's not wrong.
So I felt, and our defense played outstanding. You know, other than that last drive, where they got 3 points right before the half, which, you know, but really felt like we were still going to win the football game because of the way I thought we had dominated the first half.
But Kirby adjusted like he always does, and Hugh doesn't. And Hugh doesn't. And then the quarterback had guys open, and he's hitting people in the freaking ankle. Okay,
yeah.
I mean, and one thing Georgia did do, they took away the what I call the yo-yo motions. They took away the end around sweeps to the receivers, and they took away Jackson Arnold's running ability.
Yeah,
because I had a feeling Kirby would adjust, but I wondered. And then yet again, it's 13-10, and you're in the middle of the fourth quarter.
That's right.
And Eric Singleton is wide open, and it's a touchdown, and Jackson Arnold overthrows him.
Yep.
I mean, the plays were there to be made. The officiating did not cost Auburn the game, okay? I'm sorry. Because the game wasn't over at halftime, even if it's 17-0. You want to know why? Because I've seen Georgia come back against Tennessee down 2 scores.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, guys, but the game wasn't over. And Auburn just is not a mentally tough football team because of their head coach. You reflect your head coach. He's not a mentally tough guy. I mean, he's a Jimmy Swaggart level, BS artist, in my opinion, and he's not good enough. And I think Auburn fans would now agree with me on that, okay?
Have you seen the video of John Cohen?
Yeah, at halftime where he was –
well, no, at the end of the game.
Well, I didn't see that. I saw him at
going
halftime.
Up to the officials and just barking at them.
Well, you can do that, but your team didn't show enough toughness to finish the game, Coach. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like if one of your pitchers has the yips and you can't reach him. So – and I'm sorry, but the officiating is not what cost Auburn the football game because the game wasn't over. Auburn still led the game. They were still up 10-3.
And Q's right. They should have been up by more. They just did not convert.
And then I'll give another example. I've already talked about it. Auburn, and I thought it was a good call. It was 4th down and 2 or whatnot.
Yeah.
And they roll it out. All he has to do is lay it up for the tight end. Just make a good throw. It was a terrible throw. He threw it straight up in the air instead of just making a nice, easy toss.
Yeah.
He throws it up in the air, and it's inaccurate, and it's incomplete. He was inaccurate the whole second half.
And by the way, kudos to Auburn fans. There was some after the 4th down sack. Yeah. There was folks leaving, but for the most part, they stayed for the whole duration. Because, it was still a game. but your offense just threw up on themselves.
I mean, it was a great atmosphere, but I'm just saying, like I said,
Yeah,
Auburn,
it really was a great atmosphere.
Auburn does not play with mental toughness. Anytime something goes wrong, because they've had chances in all 3 games, their offense just caves in. Now the defense competes. And DJ Durkin, he coached for Nick Saban.
Yeah.
He teaches mental toughness. Hugh Freeze is not a guy that does that. He's a salesman and a recruiter, and his offense hasn't changed in 13 years.
I think I saw Brandon calling in. You're on the Bama Recap Show, Smoked by Dreamland Barbecue.
I say James. You say Franklin. James.
Yeah, he's done.
What do you want me to do with James Franklin?
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody lose a team as fast as he lost over one loss. It looks like that entire program has boarded up and hit the road, like that Brad Pitt movie. I'm trying to think of one that was, but they're gone, dude. Like that whole team just looks like it has just quit. I cannot believe it. Like it totally blew my mind that went the way it did yesterday. But Auburn looked good. Auburn came out and looked like they were on fire. They had a lot of energy. That defense gave everything they could possibly give. And I just don't understand it. I understand that Kirby adjusts in the second half, and the same thing with the Bama game. But with the talent he's got and the wide receivers and the defense he's got, you can't justify, what'd you say, 40 yards of offense?
40 yards. Yeah, and most of that was on the final drive.
And I hate to tell you all this, I missed it. I was out here in my little zero gravity chair with Snoopy and woke up at about 4 a.m. and was freezing and got up and went in the house. We were just out here having us a good old time. But I didn't even see y'all's texts or nothing. And but they should have won that game. They had control of it. And I think that's the best Auburn's looked all year. And now they're 0-3 in the conference, correct? They are
0-3. 0-3.
Okay, so they're out of the playoff by all means, and they're out of the SEC championship.
I think a 3-loss team has a better argument. If Auburn were to win out, I know they've got Mizzou this week, and that ought to be interesting. But if Auburn were to win out, I think I could make an argument for them because they do have that road win at Baylor. And let's see here. If they win out, that would be wins over Mizzou, as well as Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. Yeah, that's and then Alabama at the end after Mercer. Boy.
Well, and I looked at this at the schedule last night. You could reasonably have 3 teams: Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Alabama all go undefeated in the conference.
Yeah.
Because they don't play each other.
That's
so
right.
You got to hope LSU screws one of them up. So what are we going to do if we get to the end of the season?
Well, we'd have to go to the tiebreaker. Right? We'd have to, I mean, it's head-to-head first, then it's common opponents on how they ended the regular season. So I mean, it's
now. And non-con's what, like the 5th tiebreaker?
I think it's the 3rd. I think it's the third
okay.
tiebreaker.
Well, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, well, we've got a situation where they created with scheduling where you could have an undefeated team in the conference and not make the conference championship.
Yeah.
Where you talk about some hell raising is going to happen.
Yeah, well,
and it's probably the year it happens.
Well, and look, Alabama's just got to keep their eyes on the prize. They're in the middle of a gauntlet.
Yeah.
Going to be a very tough matchup with Tennessee. Tennessee's got as potent an offense as you're going to face. They've got a great running attack. They've got 3 good backs. They've got Brazel's having a great year at receiver. Aguilar's much better than Nico Iamale. Moneybags, even though Moneybags has won 2 in a row.
That's right.
He just got a coach at Michigan State fired pretty much, I would imagine. Oregon State just fired their coach this morning, so we're averaging like 1 per show each Sunday, but it's like Black Sunday. Somebody's going to get the zig.
Everything's good down on the plains?
Yeah, they're not going to fire you for that. I mean,
I wouldn't think so either.
They played hard. They just once again blew the game, and so they've been in all 3.
Need to figure out how to win a game.
They've got to figure out how to win, and they got to figure out their offense. I mean, it's just they can't play 4 quarters of offense, and they end up they played 4 quarters of good defense, and their special teams was solid, even though they did shank one punt late in the game.
I do wish – I'm sure there's cameras inside the press box, but when the announcement was made on the fumble, and we are all told that you cannot cheer inside the press box.
Right.
But I just I'm telling you, inside the press box, there was I'm sure there's some video out there and maybe some audio too. There was some colorful language inside that press box when that happened.
Well, can we ask for some concurrence of rules? So on illegal forward pass, they say your entire body has got to be across the line of scrimmage.
That's the ball. You can technically throw the ball if the ball is the last thing to leave your hand before the line of scrimmage. Your entire body can be across the line of scrimmage, but it is the ball. From what I've been told, the ball has to be behind the line of scrimmage.
Okay, I've wondered about that because I know that's something that Alabama and Auburn fans have had fun with. Mm-hmm. And to me, the nose of the ball breaking the plane, that's too tough to see. To me, you need to get.
Well, that's why I was mentioning about the cameras. Can we get maybe a higher quality camera facing down the goal line on either side of the pylon? Is that too difficult of an ask?
I wish they had some of the stop action camera. I know you've seen that where you can turn and go to a complete. I mean, you can't tell me that they don't.
You're telling me Mickey Mouse does not have enough coins in his couch for better cameras along the goal lines? And really, I would point cameras on either sideline, back of the end zone for all these critical toe taps that we're all looking at, because all these plays are now designed. They're designing to utilize that entire 52 yards wide.
Well, if they keep making these bad superhero movies, they ain't gonna have money for nothing. But I feel like that Wilkin Formby, I don't know if he's got a screen door NIL deal or what, but that's what he looked like yesterday. A complete screen door. Didn't even try to make contact with the guy several times and turned around making faces at people like, what? No, dude, you got ran by like you didn't even exist.
Yeah.
And Jackson does need to play a little better. But I feel like once we get everybody back, if we'd had all of our receivers yesterday, it would have been a little bit of a different game. We won a fist fight. But it could.
And keep in mind, Missouri was coming off of a bye as well.
Had 2 weeks to prepare.
Yeah.
And, I thought they had a good plan. But like I say, I thought Alabama showed a lot of toughness. One of the guys especially, because he made 3 or 4 bad plays, but as I pointed out, he always followed it up with a really good play, a big tackle, an interception, doing his job, and that's Bray Hubbard. Because Bray had some rough plays, but I thought he did a really nice job. And then, like I said, I thought other guys like Lotsier Brooks stepped up, Daniel Hill stepped up, because you're going to have guys go down. And then Mike Carroll came in. He did some really good things at right tackle for the struggling Formby, who I agree with Brandon and Jerry. He should be replaced. And, and then with Damani Jackson not playing well, you got a guy like Dijon Lee, who's a freak.
Well, and next week we're going to play against Tennessee, and we know what we're going to get. We're going to get a lot of formations outside the numbers, throwing the ball down the field. Well, that's what we got to worry about stopping. I'm not worried about them throwing the check down. I'm not worried about them throwing to the flat. You're going to have to bend a little bit. I do not want another situation like with Jalen Armour Davis and them 3 years ago, where they are just touchdown, which nobody knew who that kid was, and he could run like that either. We were putting a box safety on a guy that could run like a 4.3.
Yeah, well, they better be able to stop the run too. That's all I'm going to say, because Tennessee can run the football.
Well, but I'll give this to some people who don't know it. Gone are the days of the 2015 Alabamas and the 2021 and 2022 Georgia teams.
Yeah.
These people no, the money has spread all that out. You are in games where Josh Pate said the other day, your coaches are going to have to win games in the margin.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at what Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer are doing, they are managing to win games in the margin with Ty Simpson, and him being able to put the ball in places where you wouldn't believe. Our running game was effective yesterday. We ran for, 130 yards?
Something like that. But then you have to also take out sack yardage. They took 4 sacks.
Yeah.
But I thought the running game was effective.
125.
And it was more than that due to sacks. But, again, it was effective. And even when Jam went out, Daniel Hill did a good job.
Mizzou had 4 sacks, by the way.
You got to give Kirby credit. You might go in there and punch him in the face in the first 2 quarters, but he's going to show you something in that third and fourth quarter. And as an offensive coordinator, you better have a punch, and then when they adjust to what you're doing, you better have a counter punch, because if you don't, in the second half, he's coming after you. And that's what people better learn to do when they play Georgia. They better figure out what their counter punch is going to be when him and Schumann take away what you do in the first half. And Alabama was able to hold on and just not let them score anything really in the second half in that game. And that's the difference in what you got to do to beat them. And you got to have coaches that can win games in the margins. And right now that's Kirby Smart and Kalen DeBoer. And how about that press box food, Steve? Is it better than hot dogs?
It was Chick-fil-A, so I was quite happy with that. Yeah. No, it was it was very good. I appreciate the Auburn folks.
It wasn't the prison loaf.
No, it was not the prison loaf.
No.
That can be had there in Tuscaloosa from time to time.
Yes.
That's good laugh. Good laugh. Roll Tide. I'm out.
Well, like I said, for Bama, I just think overall, Ty Simpson, I thought he was, once again, not his best game, but he was great when he needed to be.
Yeah.
The offensive line was inconsistent, so it wasn't great, but I thought Jam played a great game before he went out. Daniel Hill picked up some slack, did a nice job. Kevin Riley had a touchdown catch, so both those guys did some good things. Lotsier Brooks, a money play. I mean, that was a great job. And then defensively, Bray Hubbard, I thought he bounced back quite nicely. Dejon Lee played well. I thought Mekhi Hill Green also had his best game.
Yeah.
I thought he did a really nice job at middle linebacker and flashed because he made some big plays in the open field. And then I got to give Keon Keeley credit because Kelby Collins got a little banged up. They had to go deeper in the rotation, and Kelby got his first sack. He played well, so may lead to some more playing time for him.
Yeah.
He did a good job. But I just thought Alabama had some guys step up in a tough place to play. I think Missouri, I don't think they're a college football playoff team. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. But that was a tremendous atmosphere, and Alabama got it done. And overall, I'd have to give it an A- because, again, sometimes you have to win without your best.
Yeah.
And I thought Alabama did that.
I realize we're past the top of the hour. We are going to get you over to some NFL action, but we need to pay the bills. We will come back and wrap up a very eventful Week 7 of the SEC season here on the Bama Recap Show.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
It is the Bama Recap Show. Going a little overtime today. Got a lot to unpack from Alabama's win on the road at Mizzou, as well as the entire SEC slate. Mentioned I was down on the plains. For those of you keeping score at home, I rolled in at 3 a.m. this morning. Not awful. Not awful. The early line is out, at least what I've got in front of me. Drew DeArmond, Alabama opened up as a 12.5-point favorite. It is currently on 3 different books, an 8.5-point favorite.
Interesting. I'm surprised it was a double figures.
Yeah.
May
have been one of those pre-lines that came out in the preseason.
No, I do realize they haven't beaten Alabama in Tuscaloosa since half the fan base was born. But, still, it's it was 2003. It was when I think everybody realized Mike Shula was never, ever going to last very long at Alabama when you can't make a 1st and 2. I call that a Hugh Freeze. But anyway, just ridiculous because because there's a lot of similarities with Hugh Freeze and Shula. The lack of creativity offensively, lack of mental
Shula
toughness.
definitely played a role last night in a South Carolina LSU game.
How many did they score? 10, a whopping 10. So, like I said,
that's the magic number.
He's like I said, he hadn't changed in 20 plus years as far as with the way he calls offense. And so, because I'll be honest with you, they talk about creativity in the NFL. It's not about that. It's about how good of players you have.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, I used to think there was elite coaching in the NFL. It's really not. It's just basically who does the best job of getting personnel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they manage egos by, okay, we got to get this guy 7 touches. We got to get that guy 8. The NFL, that's why you see so many recycled coaches and why the hot coordinator is always going to be at, like Liam Cohen, for example. This is a guy who was at Kentucky twice,
that's right.
And he's a head coach of the Jacksonville Jags because that's just the way the NFL is. It's about ego management. It's not about coaching. There are very few elite coaches in the NFL, in my opinion. I've heard that from enough people that have been around it. It's about ego management and getting guys touches and pleasing agents and the players. And you're seeing some of that creep into college now too.
Yeah, you definitely are.
Because you got guys like Damani Jackson who's playing like a pissant. I'll just say it. He needs to be replaced. Either that or they need to light a fire under his butt in practice. Like, dude, you're playing for your job, and we don't have to play you. We'll pay you your NIL check, but that doesn't mean you're going to play.
Exactly.
Okay, so you better get your head out of your butt, and you better start playing with some physicality and some want to, or you're gone. We don't care. You can sit over there.
How much of the Tennessee-Arkansas game did you watch? I have yet to dive into it.
I watched a little bit of it. Arkansas was moving the football. Taylon Green played really well, made one superhuman play where he got blitzed and was still able to beat him to the corner and gain about 20 yards on it because he can gallop like Matt Jones. But back in the day, and they ran the ball effectively. They moved it up and down the field. Now, I thought Tennessee had it wrapped up when it was 34-17. That was the last time I watched it when they scored to go up there. But to Petrino's credit, they fought back, scored twice, and then Tennessee had to run the clock out to win it.
34-31 the final.
Yeah, Arkansas gave up nearly 500 yards, but then they gained, I think over 400 on Tennessee. It was a good football game, and they played a lot harder for Bobby Petrino than they had been playing for Sam Pittman.
Wow.
I will say that.
Wow.
At least that's what it looked like to me. And certainly I thought, and then early, Arkansas led for much of the first half.
Yeah.
So, and people forget Arkansas had won 3 in a row over Tennessee.
That's right.
So the last 3 times they had played. So it was a good win for the Vols. They've got a good offensive football team. I think their defensive team can rush the passer. I don't know. I'm not really much on the rest of it. I think they're kind of, I think they're susceptible to both the run and the pass, but they can get after a QB. But at the same time, I watched Georgia shred them too. And so I'm not that impressed with Tennessee defensively, but I am impressed with them on offense.
Ole Miss out of the gate looked awful.
They were flat.
Just you're that is the best way to put it.
Flat as a pancake.
And Washington State did take advantage of it at times, but Ole Miss's defense, it was.
I still like Georgia because this is a fascinating matchup, man, in Athens,
isn't it?
I wonder if you're gonna.
Trinidad was off,
yeah,
and I found a way to win, though. Those are usually the lane of the younger lane would find a way to lose those games.
Yeah.
They found a way to win that game.
They
did. But you're exactly the Ole Miss Georgia game. Are
you going, Steve?
No, I'm not. I am staying put. But
man, I thought I was going to have to that first half. Man, I thought I was going to have to text you and say your boat anchor molt. I thought, what's going on? I mean,
I was literally an inch away from my vehicle.
I mean, I'm like, wow.
Maybe not even an inch.
And I was feeling great. I was like, I picked this. This is awesome. That's why I was irate. I was like, way to go, Hugh. I was like, I picked this all week long. And then you choke on sauce again. I mean, and again, I understand.
Speaking of choking on sauce, Texas in the second half outscores Oklahoma 20-0.
Yeah.
Oklahoma chooses not to go for a field goal right before halftime.
Well, no, they could have still kicked it, but Mateer is a QB. You cannot just throw it up and throw a pick there. You got to throw it away.
He threw it up, all right.
He was, Mateer, so much for that Heisman Trophy, I was told all summer that he would win.
I don't know how he didn't obviously look 100%.
Well, I'll be honest, man. I don't know how early he got hurt in the Auburn game. I wasn't impressed with him in the Auburn game throwing the football. I'm not impressed with his mechanics. He is a tough guy that can run the ball, but as a passer, I'm not impressed with him. And then to top it all off, they have no running game. Like their tailbacks aren't good.
Yeah.
Their offensive line, it played right into Texas' strengths because Texas is still good defensively, and you can make them one-dimensional. And Mateer's throwing the ball up, and he throws 3 interceptions. And then Arch, he wasn't spectacular, but I thought he was solid.
Yeah.
And he went 21-27. He rushed for 30 yards, and they get a 23-6 dub.
I still believe the best team in Texas is in College Station. And Texas A&M with a win over Florida, 34-17. And it really, I watched a decent amount of that in the press box last night. And Texas A&M, that they just kind of like a snake, they just wrap around you and just squeeze the life out of you. And it was not a good look for Billy.
Well. We've got listeners that want you to talk to Dreamland. They think we need 2 hours. They don't want us to stop.
See, all right. I realize there are going to be certain weeks. We are into technically hour number 2 right now. But if you'd like to call in, be a part of the program, I scheduled it for 1 hour, but we can spill in and make sure we're covering everything properly. Leading into some NFL action. Auburn, Georgia. Georgia was that field goal right before halftime at 10-3. Then the Dogs outscore the Auburn Tigers 17-0 in the second half, ending with now I talked to Gunnar Stockton after the game. I get the idea. I know Wes says quite a bit on our program in the evening that quarterbacks don't like to get hit.
Right.
Well, there was an early sack that Auburn just blew him up.
Oh yeah, Robert Woodyard
just blew him up, and he popped right.
Him.
I mentioned that to Gunnar, and he just lit up. And then I asked, "Do you like to get hit?" And he was like, "It's football." Yeah.
Well, I thought Gunnar did show toughness. I mean, as the game went on, he stood in there. He made some big time throws. He got hammered, just like he got hammered on the targeting call, but he just kept coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, he's a tough kid mentally. I think he's a scrapper. I don't know that he's a great quarterback, but he's a scrappy guy. I can understand why his teammates love him.
Yeah.
And Jackson Arnold is soft. He's soft. He looks like $1 million. He can run. He's a great athlete, but he cannot deliver throws in the clutch. He's not a clutch football player, period, end of story. And Hugh Freeze saying they had to take it easy on him and admitting that in Atlanta, that is a huge red flag. Huge. I'm sorry. And he played a terrible second half. And I'm not even going to get on Hugh's play calling. That's easy to do. But there was open receivers, and he repeatedly pulled the string.
It wasn't just that one.
And choked. I mean, this is the difference. Ty Simpson on 4th and 8, Todd McShay said, did Ty Simpson just make that throw on 4th down?
Yeah.
4th and 8,
yeah.
and he made that throw?
Yeah.
And yet 4th and 2 and Jackson Arnold can't make a throw to a tight end. And then you've got a layup with Eric Singleton behind everybody, and you can't hit a deep ball.
Yeah.
That's just awful. You that's the throw you've got to hit. I mean, there was 2 or 3 throws that Ty Simpson had to hit or they don't beat Missouri. Well, he hit those throws. And Jackson Arnold can't do that. And that's on Hugh Freeze too. He's the one that chose Jackson Arnold, and he can't seem to get him over the hump because, again, I'll say it again, Hugh Freeze is not a quarterback whisperer. He's a play caller. Just like Gus Malzahn, they're play callers. They don't improve anybody they coach.
You tell me if I'm wrong or right about this. Every time, and I've been thinking about this more and more, and especially on the ride home last night from Auburn, every time I think about Hugh Freeze, I think about how he is portrayed in the movie The Blind Side. Now, for those that may not get that reference, he was the high school coach when Michael Orr was there. And I don't know if that's fair or unfair, but that's at least in the back of my mind is how he was portrayed. Now, I didn't say Hugh Freeze. I didn't call him Hugh Freeze, but it was Hugh Freeze.
Just read the book. It was Hugh Freeze.
It was Hugh Freeze.
It was.
That has always been in the back of my mind of just...
Let me ask you a question. Who is Hugh Freeze's idol in coaching?
Who is his idol in coaching?
He was in The Blind Side. I hate him with a passion. If there's one person on the face of the earth I hate him. I was talking to my dad about this last night, and we are in complete agreement. If there's one person you hate in coaching, it's this man.
Well, I would assume that's Philip Fulmer in your world.
Yes.
Really? That is who he...
Oh, he loved Phil Fulmer. He wanted to work for Phil Fulmer. He was begging to work for Phil Fulmer. That's all you need to know about the character if you freeze.
I don't know if that's wrong on my part, but the more he goes down this path, how much has Hugh changed? He has certainly had talented players, be it at Ole Miss and at Liberty, and heck, he won at Lambeth. If you've ever been to Lambeth, how in the heck can you win at Lambeth? So he's won.
Well, he had better players than everybody else. That's how Fulmer would win games. If he came up against a squad that was as talented and a coach that had a pulse, he didn't win. Look what Steve Spurrier did to him. And if it wasn't for Chris Winkie getting hurt and having to face Marcus Outson, Philip Fulmer has no national championship.
A quick look ahead.
Or Clint Sterner.
I'm just going to let that one sit for a second. Week 8 coming up begins with LSU at Vanderbilt. That's the 11 a.m. kick. I might go up to Vandy.
It's a quick trip,
It is. Oklahoma visits South Carolina. I have no idea what to expect there. Ole Miss, Georgia kicks off the afternoon slate along with Texas A&M and Arkansas. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Mississippi State and Florida in the afternoon. That's a 3:15 kick time on the SEC Network. And then Texas and Kentucky, the night game.
Yeesh.
And then the late night action is Tennessee at Alabama. We'll have the coverage beginning at 3:30 right here, but it'll be found on ABC. And then another late night down on the plains with Missouri at Auburn. That is on the SEC Network.
Well, there's going to be a fascinating matchup to see which one of these teams can get back up.
Auburn's a 1.5 favorite, by the way.
Because Auburn is just devastated right now. And Missouri was disappointed, but I don't know about devastated because they still have all their goals in front of them.
Yeah.
And I did like the tone of Eli Drinkwitz. He made no excuses. He said, we did not make the plays to win the game. He said, now we have to leave the event. And we have to pick it up, and we got to get back on the horse.
Oh, they've got everything in front of them.
Yeah.
That's
and
just
so-
one loss.
And he's like, and we're not here to take a moral victory. We were here to win.
That is just one loss, and they still have everything in front of them.
So he's like, we were here to win. So we're very, very disappointed. But we'll see how, what they can do against Auburn, because A&M was able to run the ball in Auburn. So will Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. Now, I will say this. After seeing both teams play, and everybody knows, I think, that Diego Pavia is a hell of a competitor, but he's a turd. But I will say this. Vanderbilt is better than Missouri, in my opinion. I think because of the quarterback. I think Diego is better than Prebula.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a better passer.
Yeah.
I think the Vanderbilt offense is better than Missouri's. And I think Mizzou's defense is better. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think the special teams for Vanderbilt is better than what I saw than Missouri's. And I think Vanderbilt's defense is good enough where they could get some stops and beat Mizzou. It would be a really good game, but I like Vanderbilt's team better after watching them both play. So it is what it is, but that's going to be a really fascinating matchup. Probably going to be low scoring with Vanderbilt and LSU.
Who do you think's the favorite there?
I would favor Vanderbilt by a field goal.
They're a favorite by 1.5.
So it's close. I think it's going to be a very close game, but LSU still shot their foot off last night, man. They were a disaster in the red zone. I mean, they fumbled going into the end zone. And then I believe Nussmeier threw 2 picks. I saw one. I think he threw 2.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't watch that.
Because trust me, Brian Kelly was irate. I mean, just talking about how we just keep killing ourselves with turnovers because Nussmeier just has not been good. I mean, a lot of people thought he was going to be the best quarterback in the SEC. The best quarterback in the SEC right now is 15 in Crimson.
Yeah, Ty Simpson.
I mean, he's been the best so far.
Sagarin has released their latest rankings. This is how they rank the SEC top to bottom. And I know you did this last year.
That's before my guy retired. I miss him every day.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brent Zvorneman, the baseball coach.
This is how Sagarin has listed the Southeastern Conference power rankings. Alabama 1. I said Alabama 1, Texas A&M 2, followed by Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Florida, Oklahoma, Auburn, South Carolina, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Kentucky.
Wow. So they don't give a lot of respect to Ole Miss, even though they're undefeated and ranked 4th in the country. That's very interesting.
Ole Miss's strength of schedule ranks at 42. Alabama's strength of schedule right now ranks 2nd in the country. Number 1 is Florida. Florida's got the toughest strength of schedule. And let's see here. Yeah, there is a sizable difference just numbers-wise. Just conference to conference rankings. The SEC, a decimal point means a big deal in this world. They're 4 points higher than and that's the independents, then the Big Ten, then the ACC, then the Big 12. On the subject of the Big 12, kudos there to Dion as Coach Prime got himself a big win yesterday at home over Iowa State.
Yeah, that was a shocker for me. I thought Iowa State would win that game, but, Matt Campbell's done a remarkable job, but they do tend to be kind of up and down. And Dion finally got a dub. They, because it looked to me like they were headed for a losing season. I still wouldn't be surprised if they are. But they let one get away from them up at, against BYU.
By the way, Auburn's strength of schedule is ranked 4th in the country.
Oh, they played a brutal schedule.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they've got Missouri this week.
Hey, look at Oklahoma's schedule going forward. I mean, it's brutality.
South Carolina's schedule.
Yeah, it's just going to be really, really difficult. And Alabama's is really tough. I mean, the SEC is just a different animal. It's
LSU
not the Big
at
Ten.
Vanderbilt is that is. I may have to go to Vandy.
Well, Chris Lee told me, I have not been back yet, but he told me that you should see the stadium. It looks completely different now that it's done. So
it's also an 11 a.m. kick. I don't have to worry about,
Yeah. There you go.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah.
By the way, just old man complaining. I'm done. I'm sick of aquariums.
Okay.
And aquariums are press boxes in today's world, courtesy of Jerry Jones.
Now, I will say this. According to what Chris was telling me, I was up in the press box last year for the debacle where Vanderbilt beat Alabama. I don't think they're changing the press box. At least it didn't.
Oh, of course not.
I mean,
but it's still in an aquarium. But they do have those windows at the top row.
They do, but it's on the 50 though.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
not. You have a great seat.
You do. Yeah.
I mean,
purely from a selfish standpoint.
And there was no prison loaf.
Purely from a selfish standpoint, I would just rather cover games at Mississippi State and of places I've been to. Mississippi State, Kentucky, and, I guess Vanderbilt. But everybody else has these corner aquariums, and I understand it. I get it. I understand it. But for the goodness gracious, can we open up a window? Can we open up a window?
I agree with that.
Yeah. That's why I went out onto the corner and just stood out there with some fans. And by the way, in the second half, there wasn't a lot of happy Auburn fans.
I'm sure they were irate.
Complaining a good bit.
And I understand it, because the officiating was bad, but that's not what ultimately lost the game. What lost the game is you got out-coached again because Hugh Freeze can't make any adjustments. His defense is fighting their guts out, and that offense, which has some players, just is not executing, and the quarterback is not good enough. I don't care what he had, how many stars he had coming out of Denton, Texas. Mm-hmm. That kid is not a 5-star quarterback, at least not that I've seen. So,
are you at all surprised with the Alabama line?
A little bit. I wouldn't have expected it to even start at double figures. I would have thought maybe Alabama was a 6.5, 7-point favorite because they're at home.
8.5 right now. 8.5.
But and again, it's going to be a tough matchup. Tennessee can score, but Alabama can too. And but it's also going to depend on how healthy Alabama is. Jam Miller's availability is going to be key. We'll see. And if not, how they step up in that situation. Because, Tennessee's got some injuries as well. But, it's going to be a tough game. But, there should be no lack of motivation. That was one of the teams that picked Alabama off last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a game I felt like Alabama let get away from them in the second half. Kudos to Tennessee. They're trying to make it a rivalry again. They've won 2 of the last 4 games.
Yeah. Heupel has really elevated that program.
And really,
from
I guess
where
2
it
out of
was.
the last 3 because they won in 22, lost in 23, then they won last year. So they won 2 of the last 3. And Alabama will be trying to protect their home turf against the Vols. And
Kalen DeBoer has not lost at home.
Right. And
the black hoodie of death once again yields a dub.
And then Alabama's trying to win 17 out of 19 against the Vomits.
Wow. All right. So, yes, I am going to play it heading into our coverage of the National Football League. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, hang out and enjoy a little Rocky Top here in about 50 seconds.
I'm your host, Double Wide Book, and on tonight's episode of Mr. Peace Theater, we will explore a tragic tale of life among the dispossessed, a tragedy of folkways from the lowest socioeconomic stratum of society. In other words, white trash, as told in the evocative and yet annoying Ballad of the Hills, Rocky Top. Our story begins with the plaintive sobbing of the banjo, a sound that could only be matched for its ear-splitting properties by the erstwhile singing voice of Len Anderson.
Wish that I was on old Rocky Top down in the Tennessee hills.
Already we feel the confusion of the people of Tennessee, unable to grasp that a mountain goes up instead of down.
Ain't no snobby snow on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bill.
A blissful existence uncomplicated by anything resembling either industry or electric power.
Was two strangers climbed old Rocky Top looking for a moonshine still.
Well, perhaps there is one industry located in this hotbed of private sector initiative.
Strangers ain't come down from Rocky Top, I reckon they never will.
No, they'll be too busy acquiring quaint mountain customs like learning to squeal like a pig.
Corn won't grow at all on Rocky Top, the dirt's too rocky back for.
The residents, alas, even too ignorant to qualify for federal agricultural subsidies.
That's why all the folks on Rocky Top get their corn from a jar.
They also like to laugh uproariously at the notion that Prince Albert might actually be in a can.
I've had years of cramped up city life, trapped like a duck in a pen.
A duck in a pen, an Appalachian term referring to a house with running water and a roof.
All I know is it's a pity life can't be simple again.
For life to be any simpler than in Rocky Top, I believe you'd probably have to be a paramecium.
Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top,
And once more, for the hard of hearing in our audience,
Rocky Top, Tennessee.
just in time, that concludes tonight's performance. Join us next time when we'll continue our 9-part history of Hee-Haw with the valiant years after Buck on Mr. Peace.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ravens crowd, and now the entire Ravens defense has done the same exact thing. I think they might have been a little annoyed by what the Rams did when they had that turnover.
No question about that. So Stafford was under pressure. He did a pump. I thought he was going to get rid of that football and let it go. Wind up holding it. And then Jenkins and the Ravens defense swarmed. That's the Ravens defense, Sal, we've anticipated seeing over the years. Instead, they've allowed 177 points, the most in a 5-game span in franchise history. But they're playing rough and tough today. We'll step away.